Sostengo que cuanto más indefensa es una criatura, más derechos tiene a ser protegida por el hombre contra la crueldad del hombre. Mahatma Gandhi.
The illegal trafficking of wild animals, in conjunction with drug trafficking and illegal arms sales, is one of the most lucrative illicit markets worldwide. This activity has created repercussions not only for the environment, but is also extended into social and economic spheres. Unfortunately, no solution has yet been found to generate lasting measures that will help halt this predicament. Colombia is one of the most megadiverse countries on the planet. More than half the country's surface is covered by natural ecosystems. Additionally, the country has the highest number of species of amphibians and birds worldwide. Unfortunately, these qualities have been counterproductive, as it has become one of the main focuses of native animal and plant exploitation. This ignorant behavior on the part of men has caused unfavorable effects in nature, like the absence of biodiversity, deterioration of habitats, pain, suffering, and death to species that deserve to receive the same respect as mankind.
Tráfico de fauna silvestre, una amenaza para la biodiversidad.
Colombia is a country with a very rich biodiversity, and most of all in birds. We have many species of birds that are victims of illegal trafficking. Among these, we have the Psittacidia family, which includes macaws, parrots, parakeets, and monk parrots. These are some of the species which are most affected by this type of illegal activity.
In Colombia, the illegal trafficking of wild animals affects 234 types of birds, 76 species of mammals, 27 species of reptiles, and 9 species of amphibians. This is the sad reality behind such an inhuman and cowardly act. Not only is there an imbalance caused to the ecosystem, but also the pain and the trauma which these animals must suffer.
Every day, we receive calls from the metropolitan area, as we are the environmental authority, where the community informs us of possession of these types of animals in residential homes, in commercial locations, or in factories. We then go in and start a process to increase awareness and recuperation of these animals so that they can be freed into their natural habitat. Daily, we patrol in our jurisdiction from the city of Caldas to the city of Barbosa, where our units go to all the neighborhoods identifying which residences have wild animals in captivity. When we identify a residence that has an animal, we go in to spread awareness. We go in to explain to the community why you cannot have these types of animals. Firstly, because they are protected by the law, and because being in possession of them is illegal. Secondly, because we are causing damage to the ecosystem, depriving it of the biological and ecological functions that these animals fulfill. Additionally, wild animals represent a risk to the health of the population.
Cualquier animal silvestre representa un riesgo para la salud de la población. Estos animales nos pueden transmitir parásitos, nos pueden transmitir...
These animals can transmit parasites, they can transmit viruses, bacteria, or they can cause allergic reactions, which in most cases affect children and the elderly.
Daily, the country records approximately 160 seizures of wild animals, mainly in the provinces of Bolívar, Sucre, Córdoba, Santander, and Valle. These animals are stolen from different provinces of the country like Amazonas, Putumayo, the Eastern Plains, Casanare, Chocó, and Antioquia. These criminals utilize a wide range of ways to traffic these animals. They sell them as pets. They preserve them as mounted trophies. They extract their tusks or teeth, bones, feathers or talons. They make fur coats from their pelts. also for human consumption.
Every day they pick up animals, those in their jurisdiction and those that are picked up by other regulators like Antioquia, and they take them to a weigh station. From there, they go to the Center for Attention and Evaluation, which is located in the town of Barbosa.
The animals arrive at the Center for Attention and Evaluation. They have been seized by the police or environmental authorities, or turned in voluntarily from all over the country. It is sad to see how these animals arrive in terrible health due to the inadequate handling and conditions in captivity. Fortunately, in the center, they are attended by professionals, by personnel trained to handle them. They evaluate their physical and psychological condition in order to choose the best treatment for each particular species, in order to be able to release them back into the wild.
Tráfico de fauna silvestre, una amenaza para la biodiversidad.
The Santa Fe Zoo contributes to the conservation of biodiversity through environmental education, research, breeding, rehabilitation, and the release of threatened wild animals.
The zoo receives the animals that for some reason cannot be returned to their natural habitat because they will never have the abilities needed to defend themselves. Animals that have been mutilated, or animals who have lost limbs, some that cannot fly or move normally, are turned over to the zoo so that they can help in educating and research, or if it is a case where they can reproduce, breed more of the species, which helps us in the conservation of the species. The macaws are one of the species that suffer the most from illegal trafficking of wildlife because of their colorful plumage and beauty. They are very sought after for the illegal market. So they are one of the most reported species that we see and receive and go through all of the protocols of the environmental ministry to recuperate and release back into the wild. The conservation program of the lime green macaw began in 1999. We now have about 14 years working with the lime green macaw, or great green macaw. We also work with the red howler monkey, which is another of the programs we manage. In Colombia, there are 6 species of macaws, which are part of the Ara genus, part of the Psittacidia order. In the Psittacidia order are cockatoos, macaws, and parrots. The idea for the program came from seeing the threats and background of illegal trafficking that was affecting this species and the small population numbers in their natural habitat. So, as a strategy of conservation that the zoo has, we adopted a strategy of conservation throughout the entire zoo. We bred this species to reproduce it and then release them into the forest. The lime green macaw is one of 6 macaw species that are found here in Colombia. It is a native species. It's different from what we would call an exotic macaw, which are found elsewhere.
This species is found ranging from Honduras, crossing Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, reaching into the northwest of Colombia in the provinces of Chocó, Antioquia, and Córdoba, and there are 2 isolated populations in Ecuador.
In Colombia, we have the Scarlet Macaw. This is the macaw that has the 3 colors of our flag, yellow, blue, and red. We have the military macaw, which is very similar to the great green macaw, which is what we have here at the zoo, which is known here as the lime green macaw. You have the blue and yellow macaw and the red and green macaw, which looks very similar to the scarlet macaw. However, the difference is in the size and coloring of the plumage, or in the wings. They have reflective green feathers. They spend most of their time in a tropical forest habitat. They have to have certain conditions met, such as food. They primarily eat berries and fruits. One of the macaws' primary ecological functions is to disperse seeds, since when they feed, they eat the pulp and drop all of the seeds on the forest floor.
Consumen la pulpa del alimento y dejan caer pues en el sotobosque toda la parte de las semillas. Igual en el momento que ellas vuelan.
Likewise, when they fly from branch to branch, they shake the tree canopies, and in that way, they also help to drop some seeds on the ground, where they can germinate. Among the conditions they also need are good temperature and humidity. Macaws are social animals, and it is important for groups of macaws to have a food and water source. Macaws do not consume many liquids directly. Instead, they extract the liquids they need from their food.
Tráfico de fauna silvestre, una amenaza para la biodiversidad.
Right now, we are in the habitat of the great green macaw. We have them separated from the rest of the animals and without contact with the public because they're breeding. So it is better to have them separated so they don't get stressed, so that they are comfortable. Right now, I am feeding them. The diet for the macaw is plantain bananas, papaya, figs, ripe mangoes, and ears of corn. We also give them cooked eggs. Come here, come over here. Of their normal diet, they like the ears of corn best, and the figs. Those are their favorites. The schedule is food in the morning. If we notice that they are low on food in the afternoon, then we give them a little more, because the idea is not to have a lot of food laying around so that the rodents or other birds come in and eat it. Because if the macaws are full, doves and other birds, the squirrels also come to snatch their food. For this reason, we try to feed the macaws twice a day so that they are well fed, and the others won't have as much of a chance to steal their food. We put big tree trunks in their cage, trees like these. They enjoy peeling off the bark from the tree stumps and grinding the wood from the trunk, so it's necessary to always put or constantly change the tree trunks in their cage. It is a way for them to distract themselves and not stress, pecking the wood. First, they strip off the bark, then they start to break down the trunk.
Part of the other programs, of the 5 conservation programs that the Santa Fe Zoo manages, we have a blue-billed Curassow, which we're trying to breed them with not only this institution, but all others that also have the blue-billed Curassow here in Colombia and also in Europe. We are trying to find new ways of insemination, of conditioning, so that the males can mount the females and achieve fertilization, because there have been many of the eggs that have not shown any level of fertilization. The male is possibly not mounting the female well enough, which is causing a lack of fertility in the eggs.
Nombre común: paujil de pico azul, pavón colombiano, blue-billed Curassow, blue-nosed Curassow. Tipo de fauna: nativa. Clasificación: clase: aves. Orden: galliformes. Familia: Crassidae. Género: Crax. Especie: Crax alberti.
In the Crasidae order, there are many species of yellow-billed curassows. We also have the yellow-billed curassow here at the zoo. What is the difference between the blue-billed and yellow-billed? Basically, in the males, the color of the beak, and in the females, it is the coloring of the belly and tail feathers. There are other species of the curassow, like the orange-billed curassow. There is the helmeted curassow, which are not native to Colombia, but are part of the Crasidae family.
The blue-billed curassow is a species endemic to Colombia, which means you can only find them here in this country. Their range reaches from 1,200 meters above sea level in the northern slopes, eastern and western sides of the Sierra Nevada mountain range in Santa Marta. They also live in the lowland areas along the river plain of the Magdalena River Valley, from Honda to the mountainous area of San Lucas, the lower Cauca, and the upper parts of the San Jorge and Sinu rivers, and the mountainous area of San Jacinto.
There are reports that the blue-billed curassow has been found in parts of the Andean region. But at this time, the reports are for animals that do not live in that region, that are extinct. This is the only patch where at this time these animals exist in their natural state, in the northern part of Colombia, nowhere else in the world. Well, the curassows live in tropical forests and humid tropical jungle. They usually are on the ground so that they can eat insects. They also live in the lower parts of trees, not high up in the tree. They are birds that can fly, but they don't have a high range of flight. Also, a large portion of what they eat are berries from the trees that fall on the ground and serve a biological function mixed with the bird material. So we say in a way they are easy to capture because they live in the lower levels of the forests, similar to a chicken.
Tráfico de fauna silvestre, una amenaza para la biodiversidad.
Right now, I'm feeding the curassows. I feed them twice a day. In the morning, we give them a chopped fruit plate, which consists of melon, papaya, cooked egg, and a cooked ear of corn, bell peppers, and a plantain banana. We also add calcium, and in the afternoon, we give them corn in its husk. We usually give it to them at about 3 in the afternoon to try to control the rodents, but also the other birds that try to get in there to help out by eating their food. For this reason, we feed them twice a day. We also give them lettuce, which they really like, and as an enrichment, we give them baby rats and worms, which they enjoy. This is to give them some protein, some enrichment of the food, as well as to spoil them a little. Of course, they really like it. If it were up to them, we would give it every day, but we can't. We put branches in their cage so that they love breaking branches. So we put these boxes filled with vegetation so that they can entertain themselves there.
The characteristics of the animals is very showy. They have multiple colors in their plumage. When they're chicks, the first growth stage of their feathers are very gray. When they are born and come out of the egg, they have no feathers. When they have some feathers, they leave the nest, and then the feathers start to change colors. They have exceptionally strong beaks, which they use to break the nuts and berries to eat them. Also, they have a very long tail that acts similar to a rudder when they are maneuvering through the air while flying. They also use their feet to break things, like their beak. This is like having an additional extremity that these animals have.
The genus Ara birds are considered some of the most intelligent. The Ara ambiguus, or the great green macaw, is a gregarious animal. They like to fly in groups, ranging from 18 to 40 birds. The blue-billed curassow is a more sedentary bird. You generally find them either alone or in pairs, and sometimes a family altogether. They are ground-dwelling animals and are more active in the early morning or at nightfall.
In regards to their behavior, they're a tranquil species, except during the courting and mating periods. The males have a tendency to be a little more aggressive, obviously trying to chase away the other males which might be within their home area. They are also more aggressive during this time because of the hormones, but normally their behavior is very calm. During the courting stage, they emit a series of sounds.
En cuanto a comportamiento, en la época del cortejo emiten una serie de sonidos.
Take for example, when we talk about a bomb, the sound of a bomb, it is more or less the sound of an alert when they perceive a threat nearby. They make this sound trying to communicate to other curassows that there is some sort of threat in their area.
Una amenaza pues cerca a su espacio.
A los humanos se nos ha encomendado una tarea muy importante.
Mankind has been given a very important task: to take care of our planet Earth, to be the voice of the defenseless that cannot speak, who can only express themselves with a look or a gesture, beings that feel pain of unscrupulous people who, instead of caring for them and admiring their beauty, exploit them to make money. Unfortunately, we are their worst threat.
Somos su peor amenaza.